Hey guys, welcome back to Gamechangers podcast. This is your host Harsh with my co-host Jaden and our guest, special guest today, Yousaf from Gainztalk, more commonly known as Gainztalk, founder of Kadns, a prominent clothing brand that's just on the come up, and also an influencing part of the LA fitness team. How you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm good, man. Thanks for having me guys out here. It's definitely nice to be on the Gamechangers podcast for sure. So yeah, thanks for having me.
It's been long due because, I guess we have that little Edmonton entrepreneurial community and everyone kind of knows each other, and we talk behind the scenes, right? With you, even Kenny, I talk with him all the time. A bunch of different people that kind of share the same mindset, and we all know each other. Yeah. But, it's great to finally have you on and have this face-to-face conversation.
For sure, man. For sure. Yeah. Nice meeting you guys too. So
definitely. So I guess to start off, I want to, of course, COVID-19 pandemic. I want to ask, I guess as a business owner, as a young adult, I guess what are the challenges you're facing right now?
For sure, man. So COVID, talking about my brand Kadns, I'm one of the founders actually. So there's 4 of us that started it, but we actually started we launched our website on April 10th. So we're coming up on our 1-year anniversary pretty soon here. But when we launched, it was like right in the midst of COVID kind of becoming an actual thing in North America, right? We were hearing about it like January, February, it was all in China and in Italy and all that stuff. And then come end of March is when we started going in a lockdown. And so it was becoming all real, and we were already working on the brand since end of 2019. So we just figured we're not going to, let something external kind of hold our plans back. So we decided to go ahead and launch. Now, in terms of how it has affected everything, it has definitely, had a play in where we are right now versus where we think we would have been, just due to the fact that we as a group were very much about, our whole brand is about, we don't call it streetwear, we say squad wear. And the reason we say that is because our whole brand was about that squad. It was about us being together because 4 of our friends started it. We met back in 2011, 2012, roughly. And we all met because we all moved from different places just around that same time to Edmonton. And back then, the influence of hip hop or just people from different places, Edmonton wasn't was a multicultural town, back just 10 years ago, it was a very, very just old people here working in oil fields. That's it pretty much. Right. So when we moved here, our connection was kind of broad because of hip hop and because of music, because I grew up in Winnipeg. One of my other buddies from Ontario, and then his background's from St. Lucia, but he's from Ontario. He lived out in Ontario, then moved here. My other buddy's from Florida, and then the other one's from Texas. So we all kind of moved from different places, and then coming to Edmonton was such a big change for us, right? And I grew up in Winnipeg, so I mean, it's not that
pretty
crazy.
Much the same.
Pretty much the same, but Winnipeg, I felt had more. When I was growing up there, because there was already people from different cultures, I guess, or different nationalities. So we all just grew up listening to hip hop, listening to music. It was just a different vibe compared to Edmonton at that time. So we got connected because of our shared sense of music and shared sense of fun and the jokes and, quote unquote, I know it's the cancel culture right now and stereotypes seems to be just this, evil things to talk about. But I feel my at least for me growing up, certain jokes and certain things were things that you talked about and you laughed about, but it wasn't never as serious as it is now, right?
Yeah.
And I get that for certain things, right? There's certain lines that you shouldn't cross, but it's just we had a different vibe about us, right? So when we met here, we just got connected because of differences, right? Or because of, I guess, shared interest. And then 10 years later is when we started to decide, when we decided to launch this brand Kadns. And that's why it's, it was all about the squad. So when we launched and COVID hit, we spent our young, our early 20s basically promoting clubs and going out and doing just a lifestyle, right? So when we tried to promote this brand as that, and then COVID hit, a lot of our plans were basically based around events, right? We were going to do we were going to, kind of host parties at clubs or just kind of do things that were what made us what. Yeah, but it's things like just because the whole brand is about, it's cadence. Essentially, it just means flow, right? So it's like it was all about just being in your flow, moving to your cadence, like being yourself essentially with your squad and having that connection of unity, right? But COVID kind of disrupted all that because it shut down all the clubs. You can't go out with your squad anymore. You can't even freaking hang out with people anymore. You can't. So anyway, so all our plans were kind of disrupted because of that. But fortunately, we didn't really let that stop us in terms of what we were doing in launch. So we still went ahead and launched the brand. We focused mostly then on social media to try to get our growth up. And in the past year, on IG, we kind of gained about over 1,000 like organic followers. So that's something we're very proud of. Like, just not having the tools that we thought we will have access to when we launched the brand to then being disrupted by like COVID, and then everything kind of, switched. And the biggest battle or biggest challenges that we had to kind of face during this was more on a personal level, because we all went from like people that would go out and like we were like social butterflies to now being tied into a house and not having any place to go out. Like our whole, like there was times where we were all like in a business together, but we wouldn't see each other for like weeks on weeks because we were all so self-isolated, right? And then it got to a point where nobody really wanted to step out of the house. So, yeah, it was a difficult time last year with the whole changes, because we spent, 20 plus years of our life living a different kind of way. And then it got all switched over, and it was right in the midst of when we were trying to create a brand that was all about that lifestyle. So yeah, now kind of looking back and being in 2021, it's just all about like, for me, at least, as one of the pillars for the brand is like, I want it to be about that unity. I want our brand to represent that no matter what happens, no matter who tries to, because clear for me, at least with this whole COVID stuff, I just feel like it's all about division right now, right? Like everything that's happening in the world, you look at any of the protests, any of the movement, from the BLM to, the Asian hate, like everything that's happening is, even within all these movements, you're getting division, right? Like everybody's being divided because either you're on this side or you're on this side, or you're in the middle. And if you're in the middle, then you're still kind of,
people don't even accept the middle.
Yeah. People don't even accept the middle anymore, because like you could be in the middle, just being, hey, listen, I don't want to hurt nobody. If I'm with you, like yes, but then you're a shitty person because you're not speaking up. and then if you are speaking up, then you're on this side. If you're like it's all about division right now, right? Let's just
100%.
I think most people are blind to that, and they're not realizing what's going on. And even like, who am I to like know be woke, this whole like woke society.
So expand on that. Like I'm interested to hear your thoughts on like cancel culture, and how we as like millennials have kind of developed this mindset that like just canceling everything.
For sure.
Everything should be open and everything should be allowed.
Yeah, but the thing is, the thing with cancel culture and a lot of these movements and a lot of the narrative that's being pushed down our throats right now is that you can have the cancel culture because you want to cancel everything, because you should be able to speak up about everything, but you can't speak up about what other people are speaking up about. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if that makes sense, but it's like
the cancel culture in itself is a hypocrisy, in my opinion.
Exactly, man. Exactly.
Because when you're like, so you're canceling somebody because you're saying,
or speaking up.
This should not be allowed. So you're basically telling somebody, oh, the entire concept of cancel culture is to promote equality or justice or whatever it is, right? But at the end of the day, you're telling a person what they should think and what they shouldn't think, or how they should feel or how they shouldn't feel, regardless of how bad it is, whatever you think it is. Everyone should have that autonomy of having their own opinion and having their own feelings and thoughts, even if you don't agree with it. Cancel culture is saying, hey, you're not allowed to think this way. This is how you're supposed to think. And if everyone thinks the exact same way, then how's there going to be any progress or evolution? Because that's what conflict creates progress, right? If there's no division, if there's no discussions between different parties, how is that going to create evolution and different thoughts? So
sorry, go on, Jaden.
I was gonna add, so basically, like, it seems like my generation, like kind of like Gen Z, it seems like everyone thinks that they're doing the best thing. Like we think like canceling like whatever happens, we think it's the best thing, but it's not. And like I'm in university right now, I'm really into like exploring new ideas and new perspectives, like let's say politics. I like to look at like what libertarians think, what capitalists think, what liberals think, and just kind of see what's good everywhere and explore new ideas because they're like new to me and it's exciting. But canceling stuff, it stops that and it stops innovation, I think, because you can't really explore new ideas and people are like, no, that's not a good idea, like this and that. And maybe it's not the best thing. Like maybe sit down and take a look at things objectively.
Well, from my opinion, I think the problem is everybody does feel woke, but the problem is we're woke on wrong memes. Like we're woke on memes, essentially, is how I feel, right? And I've been in that situation where I felt like I needed to like speak up and be part of something, and then I didn't do my own due diligence of understanding what was actually going on, and I kind of got caught up in the whole social media hype around it. And going through that experience, I just realized that nobody's actually like 90% of people aren't actually woke. I might not be woke no matter how much I think I am, because there's so much knowledge and actual information that you can go get out there that's beyond just the memes. And a lot of people are caught up in the memes. Elon Musk said it the best, right? Whoever controls memes controls the world. And he's right. Because now we're in that meme culture, or everything we see, we just read the headlines and we just start creating opinions on it without actually knowing.
People only read the headlines.
Exactly. Without actually knowing what's the deeper, understanding of that topic or that salute or that situation, or right. Like, so all these, what I was saying earlier with like this cancel culture and all these movements and stuff, like everybody's just looking to point fingers, but nobody's actually doing anything about it. And that's the shitty part about where we are right now. Yeah. And there's a lot of things I want to speak up on. I just personally don't feel like I'm ready yet in terms of creating the change that needs. So like one example I'll give you is like everything that's going on with Alberta, like the COVID and coronavirus and all that stuff. Like, dude, we can talk all about it as we want on our Instagram and all that. None of that's really going to change unless people are actually speaking to their MPs, right? Like their municipal parties, or like their whatever in that political world. Like whoever needs to be talked to, there's people need to step up. People who have the not just the financial resources, but then also like the influence. They need to like go in front of these people and talk. But the problem is that nobody wants to like really go up and have a conversation, because realistically, most people just don't have the balls. So what they're doing instead is they're sitting back and just posting about it. And online, it looks like, man, this influencer, is doing such a great job, right? They're like talking about whatever it is. But at the end of the day, are they actually like using their resources or the financial or influence to actually go and get a meeting with fucking Jason Kenney, right? Like nobody's pushing it that far, or at least I haven't seen anybody actually push it that far where they're just like, no, enough is enough.
I agree. I think it's like exactly. I can completely agree with what you're saying, because it's like now you just post a story about something. You're like, oh, this is going on. This is wrong. I'm going to post a story about it. Check mark, right? It's like completing a checkbox. Like, okay, I did my part.
Yeah, and then you're like, good, oh right? Man, I did good today.
I'm safe. I did my story. And to some extent, of course, if it's something you care about, if it's important to you, it's important to share.
Bringing awareness is one thing. Yeah, bringing awareness and then acting on that awareness is two different things. And I think right now we're living in that bring awareness, and that's the problem, because I feel like, as somebody who's in social media, I'm constantly bombarded with 800 things that are going wrong with the world. Yeah. And I am yet to find a fucking solution of what I can actually do to help.
Exactly.
And signing petitions that you never really know what happens to them afterwards, or just speaking on like or protesting even like. And I know it's like it sounds bad coming from me, because it's like, people are protesting for a lot of things right now and so forth. But I just, from my understanding, has just come to a place where it's like, man, I don't think any of that's making difference. So now what I'm focusing on is like, okay, how do I just become, mentally stronger, first of all, and physically stronger, but then also just become a better human being myself. So then down the road, I can actually speak up and not be afraid, because that's the thing I'm finding with influencers, like not be afraid of the cancel culture, to go and speak on the things that matter without the the repercussions of like what you're saying could like quote unquote cancel you or you lose followers. Everybody's caught up in that right now. Everybody's worried about that, but nobody's really actually stepping up and saying, okay, listen, right? Like before we started rolling, we were talking about Lil Nas, right? I'll touch on that right now because it's a great kind of segue into that. I feel like, right? Like you got all this cancel culture. You got people on media, people who like a lot of kids are watching up to these people because that's the they're the popular people to watch, and so all these kids are watching up to them, and now you got Lil Nas kind of basically giving a lap dance to the devil. And when that is happening as at a normality where it's just it has views, it got all the attention right now, and everybody's talking about it, like when that becomes the norm, it's like, where do you go from there? Like, where did we fail as human? Yesterday, I shared a quote on my story, which was like, this guy was wearing a mask and then he had another mask on top of it. And he was reading a book from Germany between like the 1930 or like the Nazi era, right? And he's reading the book and the quote just says like, oh, how could they let it get this far? Or how did they let it go this far, right? And then so the meme essentially just means like now we're wearing all these masks and we're basically, letting all this cancel culture be the thing, or Lil Nas video be like the thing where that's the new kind of like the bar now, right? Like if you're in that LGBTQ community, like that's the new bar essentially, right? Like basically worshiping the devil essentially, right? I don't know if those two relate.
What's open anymore? Like what's open culture? And what is wrong or what is wrong to promote, or what is wrong to influence, right?
And then one thing I was gonna say earlier too is like I saw yesterday somebody posted, I can't remember who it was, some big account posted something about a bad babby, Catch Me Outside girl. She went on OnlyFans or whatever, and she made like $1 million in like an hour or something, right? So I'm like, as being curious as I am, I start going through comments and stuff, and I'm seeing all these girls, like young girls, talking about how they're next.
Oh, it's like they're like it's like a hierarchy of OnlyFans.
A hierarchy of OnlyFans now, where it's like you got people like Bad Babby that get put on pedestal for their ratchet ass comment on Dr. Phil. They get put on pedestal and they become this kind of like an idol for a lot of people to look up to and want to be like. And then those people, instead of using that platform to actually spread messages that not only take care of people, and I'm a person of faith, so a lot of my moral compass kind of comes from there. So now you got people like these on these pedestal talking about their OnlyFans and how they made millions. And now you got all these young girls waiting to turn 18 so then they can go ahead and start an OnlyFans in hopes to earn that $1 million.
Right.
So as a culture, like what bar are we setting, and who's going to speak up about these topics and say that this is fucking wrong? Right. Like people, just to finish my thought, Jaden, sorry. People will say like, like let people do whatever they want to do. And, like, who are you to judge this woman? And like Lil Nas, like he's just being himself. Yay. Proud of you. Like you got all these people talking, right. And pushing that narrative. But it's like, I have made a decision recently that I'm no longer just going to be quiet about this shit, because I don't care. Like, I understand that I'm not perfect. I understand there's a lot of work I need to do. I understand that I need a lot of growth and financial stability, and like, I need to be better. I understand that. But there's certain things that I feel like I can still speak up on because it's just being pushed way too far. And I don't want to bring kids into a world where I feel like I didn't do anything to try to make a change or a shift. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's getting to that point now where it's like, bro, like this is getting out of hand. Like you got young girls trying to be trying to be on OnlyFans and can't wait to be on OnlyFans because that's where they see their future being. And it's like nobody's there to guide them otherwise, or nobody's even speaking up because they don't want to get canceled. Because if they say Bad Babby or that, I think that's how you pronounce her name, that chick is doing wrong, then you're basically you're a masculine male who,
how dare you,
how dare you? Who doesn't respect women and doesn't have like, fuck all that, man. Like this has gone too far.
Yeah, I think the OnlyFans thing, I think it's kind of like a Tai Lopez guru type thing. Like he's like, yo, I got this Lamborghini and I teach people how to like do like drop shipping stuff. And then they're like, whoa, like this is really easy. Anyone can go and make millions of dollars a month, but it's only like the top like 2%. And I think people are just trying to choose that because they think it's an easy, lazy way out. And it's like, it's kind of like, it's weird. I'm not really about it. And to continue about the like controversy stuff, like remember when there was like that WAP music video? Half of people were like, yo, how is this allowed right now? And then half of people were like, this is so empowering. But like to me, it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't affect me at all. Like, I don't have a WAP or anything, man. Like I don't listen to like WAP. I don't go around jamming out. Like, it doesn't matter. But people started asking me, they're like, yo, what do you think of WAP? I don't really care. Like, why is this so controversial? And why does this get so much publicity?
Yeah. And that's the thing with media, right? Like it's a tool, but it's also a thing that's built in a way to basically deviate everybody from what really matters, right? Like, who would have thought COVID has happened, right? Like, or would have happened. But when you actually start like looking into these things and stuff, you start figuring out that some of these political parties or people who are quote unquote, the Rothschilds or whatever conspiracy theory we can believe in, is like there is somebody who's controlling what happens in America, and that affects Canada directly, and the rest of the world, and to some extent, right? So all of these political parties, like what China is doing right now, the power plays, there's so much power play going on, China, Russia, America, like everybody's trying to be the top dog, right? And the rest of the population, people like us, we just get caught up in what's Cardi B doing, and where like, and then that's where these controversial songs like WAP or whatever, like you think like, how do you think like, is this normal anymore? And then but like you said, there's some people who are like, oh, empowering, like this is the way, this is how women should be.
Sorry, do you have more?
Go ahead, Jaden.
Okay. I wanted to ask you, so from my point of view, it seems like, at least in Canada, it seems like pretty much every religion is like actually really oppressed, and people look at it super black and white. You feel the same way?
Yeah, I feel like you mean like every religion is being oppressed? Is that what you mean?
Like, in the sense, like, you can't, like, if you tell someone like that you're religious, you get like judged, and it's like super
100%, bro.
It's super like just negative. I'm really like not about it, like how people kind of are treating it these days.
100%, man. See, the thing is, people, again, it's everybody's fault, right? I always like to say that, like me included, right? Essentially, the reason it's everybody's fault is because people, even coming from, I was born in Pakistan, right? Even coming from there, I hated Muslim people down there. Matter of fact, I hated Pakistanis. Let's just get that out there. And I was born in Pakistan, so it's not like a racial thing or anything. It's just I hated them because of their mindset and their ignorance of mixing culture and religion together. And that's what causes problems, is when you mix your stupid culture that's man-made, that your grandfather just created it in his basement, and he said that we like to do XYZ this way. I'm sorry if I'm like very blunt, but it's like, he created it. And then that cultural aspect of it, people started mixing it with religion. So they said, well, wait a minute. And, in Islam, it says that women shouldn't do that, or women shouldn't work. You know, that has nothing to do with Islam. That has something to do with their fucking culture. All right. Has nothing to do with Islam. In Islam, actually, you know, a wife of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, you know, she used to be an entrepreneur. She used to be a businesswoman. So it has nothing to do with women not working in Islam. It's just the fact that people, you know, mixed culture and religion, and they said they took their ignorance thinking that women shouldn't work, or you know. And again, it all depends on what's women doing, right? Like obviously in religion, like certain aspects, like in Islam, a woman shouldn't be on OnlyFans. And then people will take that out of context and they'll say, well, you're oppressing women because I should be able to show my boobs to whoever I want. Well, listen, girl, you know, like, come on, think here. That has nothing to do with religion. That has something to do with your, that has something to do with either the culture or just the society that you're living in, right? So that's the whole difference. And that's what people always look at religion and they try to oppress it, or they make it seem to be the bad thing. But if you actually start studying the religion, or if you actually start living your life according to the religion, and again, just to clarify, like I'm not a perfect example of a Muslim. All right. I know that. But to a very certain extent, like as I continuously to try and grow and learn, as to a certain extent, like I understand there's certain factors that just shouldn't be messed with. And what's happening in the world today is that we're messing with the natural law of order. We're switching everything. It's all human made. We are the big bosses now. We create everything. We know better than who created us. Like it's just gone too far now where people have just kind of lost it. And you can see it. And it's not even something that I'm just coming out of my ass. Like you can, if you look at the world now and like what it was 50 years ago, the level of depression, the anxiety, the suicide rates, the crime, the hate speeches, like everything is on the rise. Everything is going up. Everything is going backwards. And it's like, you know, why is that? And when you start looking into it, it's like, well, because people are constantly trying to play God. They're constantly trying to change things. Like you got, you know, there's this thing I heard, and again, this is a very touchy topic, but I'm not afraid to say it because I think it needs to be said. There was something I heard that, you know, there was a time where if you wanted to change gender, you had to go through, you know, a surgical process. Okay. Now we're living in an era where you can literally wake up one day and just say, I'm a woman, or I'm this, or I'm them. I'm them, and they or them, right? Like you can literally wake up and expect those rights because you have this random feeling that you had a dream about, and you feel that that's who you are now. And then people have to now start respecting you based on your feelings of that. And the whole concept of what you were created for a purpose, or whoever created you, right? Like, again, the problem is people are losing faith, right? They're pushing away from the words, and they're moving towards man-made, like, you know, what their favorite influencer on YouTube, what Logan Paul is saying, like people are worshiping that now. That's so, you know, true. versus what's been in the books for hundreds and hundreds of years, right? And it was all about balance, right? It was all about living a good life. But then once you start shifting that balance, and you start getting into your feelings about what's right or what's wrong and how you feel, and that should be what it is, rather than letting it go and being like, well, I know I feel like that, but I'm here for a bigger purpose. I need to chase that. When you let that go and you start looking at your feelings and say, well, I feel like XYZ today, and that's who I want you to treat me as, then the whole shift starts happening, right? Like people start losing it. So yeah, that was my point on that.
Because it's funny, we had a podcast the other day with someone named Zuby, and I'm not sure if you know him, but he's a music artist, and he became popular because he posted a tweet where he said, I'm going to identify, since you can identify as your own gender these days, he said, I'm going to identify as a woman, and I'm going to lift. So basically what he did was, the entire thing was a joke on how you can identify as what you want, and how I guess it's so unfair to other people, right? Because, for example, so he's a big guy, right? So he said, I'm going to wake up, I'm going to identify as a woman, and he broke the women's deadlift world record.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
He did that. He broke the record, and then he's like, I don't identify as a woman anymore. And like people were just like, it was hilarious because everyone is just saying like that's just how it is now. Like you can wake up, like used to who you be. He broke the record. And he's like, I don't identify as a woman anymore, and now I'm the unofficial record holder for women's deadlifting.
Bro, right? It's so it's like where are we drawing the line? I saw something the other day that like few months ago that absolutely disgusted me. It was like, you know, those pedophiles.
Yeah.
Where they're defending it. They're like, yo, being a pedophile is natural. That's insane.
I know, but
they're using the same measures.
But think about it, right? There was a time when certain things that we are currently living through that are okay with and should not be named, that we're living through right now, there was a time where that wasn't okay, right? Or where that wasn't openly talked about. What we're witnessing now in 2021. So my question to me was, okay, right now we're saying that this isn't okay for pedophiles to have their own flag and be considered like, oh, well, I feel like I'm 80 years old inside, so I should be able to hook up with an 80-year-old because that's how I feel. Well, you know, like, so obviously we're pissed about it right now, but what's going to happen in 5 years? What's going to happen when Lil Nas comes up with, you know, a baby devil sucking his dick? Like, what are we going to do? You know, like, what are we going to do? Where do we draw the line is my question. It's like, yes, right now we feel like pedophiles should never have their own flag and that should never be okay. But 5 years from now, is the society as a collective, are we going to fail again? And is that going to be the new normal? Is that like, is pedophiles going to have rights in 5 years?
Yeah.
And if you don't ask those questions right now, and somebody might listening to it be like, this guy is an asshole. Like, you know, sure, bro. You know, we'll see when your kids are running around the streets and pedophiles got their flags. Like, you know, like we as a society, man, we just need to like.
It's a scary society to live in, and it's a scary society to raise a child in, because in the future, that's one of my biggest fears, that I'm going to be raising a kid, and little Billy and little Tommy, they're going to be 6 years old, and they see something on the internet they're not supposed to, and they're scarred for life. And like, you know what I mean?
That's what I said earlier. Like, I'm 28, right? Like, you guys are still young. So, you know, hopefully together we can, you know, create some changes. But like, I'm 28, man. Like, you know, at least by 35, I want to have kids, you know, hopefully sooner, so I can play ball with them when I'm kind of hitting that 50 mark, you know, because after that, I don't think I'm going to be able to ball, man. My knees already hurt. But so, you know,
it's a whole different story.
Yeah, I know, man. So like, I'm trying to, so that's what scares me. It's like, man, we're no longer like, imagine if I had a daughter right now and OnlyFans was a thing. I don't know how I would feel as a father, man. Like, it would be a scary thing. And most people are not talking about these things, or the culture that is pushing OnlyFans. They make it seem like, well, you're an oppressing father, or you should let your daughters do whatever they want to do. No, fuck you, Karen. I'm not letting my daughters do whatever they want to do. They're my daughters. They're going to listen to me. And I don't care if the society looks at it the other way, right? Like, I come from the generation where we used to get beat. I'm still beating my fucking kids. I don't care. Like, they're going to have to listen. Because I know the society we're living in right now, it's going to be tough, man. It's going to be, it's like, we got this whole NFT stuff going on right now, right? All this virtual world. Yeah, it's cool right now, but is it still going to be cool when your kids are basically never leaving the room because they're just in this virtual world, and you have no idea who they're hanging out with and who their friends are, and they could be hanging out with some chick on a virtual world that's a fucking 50-year-old fat male sitting in his basement eating Cheetos, like. You know what I mean? Like,
and it's like Cheeto dust on his hands.
Yeah. And he's talking to your little girl in the virtual world, pretending to. Yeah, like that. Like, he's wiping hands as he's writing out messages, like, you know. So these are the questions that I ask myself, man. These are the things that fucking, you know, sometimes keep me up at night.
Yeah,
you know, because it's like
the internet causes so much like chaos, because at the same time, like we're just discussing ideas, but it's like for me, I'm not sure 100% on any of my ideas. Like like we don't really know what's right, and the internet just causes so much havoc.
I know, because it's all a division plot, right? Like
and most of us don't know anything other than the internet.
Exactly.
Too.
So the more you can divide, the more you can conquer, right? And that's all is going on right now. It's this whole division about. Yeah, go on, Harsh.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, I think, like, similar to how, since I guess the internet has grown so much, it's become its own world. And I think with the world we live in, there's laws, there's rules, there's regulations, right? Are we going to start canceling kids because they're under 18 and they're not allowed to drink? Is that going to be a thing? Like, I want to be able to. Is that like,
and you end their career options for the rest of their life? Like, people still have to work and stuff, man.
Right, and it's like, like, because there's laws, there's rules, there's order that we live in by the real world. I think the internet can be a great place if used in a successful way. I've connected with so many. Look at us right now. We're in 3 different places physically, but we're able to, of course, Yousaf is on a mountain enjoying the sunset. But
I'm in San Fran, baby, California.
San Fran Bridge, but like we're all in different. It can be used as a great tool, but I think there needs to be, and that's where whatever we say, awareness, great, but at the same time, the power is out of our hands. It's in the power of Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg and Bill Gates and these people that are regulating and have ownership of these platforms. Because they have the responsibility to say, hey, you know what? Because the internet is becoming its own world, we have to establish some rules, some laws, and some governing bodies to regulate.
I know. But I feel like that's never going to happen, because the internet, the Facebooks of the worlds don't work with regulation. They work when there's drama, when there's chaos, and if you look at their rules and regulations right now, like they pick and choose. And I'm sure we all have seen Social Dilemma by now, right? Or at least heard of it.
Yeah.
But they pick and choose of what you're seeing and what you're not, and where you are. Like we're going through such an era, and it hurts me almost, because I feel like I got caught up in a lot of this, because I'm from the generation that we didn't have internet, and then we had internet, or like we had internet always, I guess, but it was like no Facebook and Facebook kind of thing, right? Like I remember coming out of high school, and that's when Facebook was starting to hit the surface, 2010.
Yeah.
And so me going through like my junior high and high school time with no kind of like social media apps, life was different, bro. Like life was good. You know what I mean? Like you only, maybe you didn't know as much. And that sometimes I feel like was a disadvantage for me, because kids nowadays have so much access to the knowledge. So if they want to be great salespeople, if they want to be podcasters or influencers or all that, they already have a lot of that. Now, obviously there's like, you were saying there's downside to it because there's too much out there, but at the same time, like I didn't have that. So now when I do, I feel like I kind of got caught up in all this drama and all this, like, because everything I feel like now that quote unquote I'm woke, everything I feel like that I've learned or I've seen or maybe I've come across, who knows if it was all just planted, for me to kind of follow along, but it wasn't something that I was interested in, or wasn't something, right? Because it's all data now, right? It's all being pushed
even
on you.
Voice, like it's crazy, like how much data like even Instagram, their new rules, like they're able to listen to exactly what we're saying right now, all of us, because if we have an Instagram installed on our account, same with TikTok.
Yeah,
that's part of their new terms and regulations. They're able to have access to your microphone and hear what you're saying. Some of the apps, they have access to your cameras. Like people are saying,
I do keep in mind, like, to always like usually my phone's microphones and stuff are off, except like Instagram and stuff, because I usually post on there, so I'll leave that on. But like all my other apps, like TikToks and stuff, I'll only turn it on when I need to use it. Something for you guys to keep in mind as well. Right, like I understand, because man, they are always listening, right? They're always collecting data, and there's always
where do we go from here, Yousaf? What do you think? And
where do we go from here, man?
What's the solution?
Maybe we'll all just slide down pole with Lil Nas.
Wait, I wanted to just add, so like we were talking about, like, if your daughter had an OnlyFans, but just like for the sake of like showing it from both perspectives, imagine you have like a 13-year-old son, and he's spending $200 a month on like Bad Baby and Trisha Paytas's OnlyFans, and he's like spending all this money and looking at all these OnlyFans all the time. Like I would be just as pissed.
Oh, of course, man. But again, I think even with a girl, right?
Or imagine he's posting his balls on OnlyFans too.
Bro, his balls are getting fucking chopped same day. No. But listen. I think, and that's what I'm taking the personal responsibility right now. You know what I mean? Like I'm starting, like at 28, right? I'm realizing that I need to do better, right? Right now, I'm not a father. I'm not a husband. I'm not, I need to do better now. So make sure that I'm not, spending time on these apps. Make sure I'm not wasting my time with this stuff. Make sure I'm putting, recently there's this guy I follow and, he's been talking a lot about ethics. And I think that is actually a solution to a lot of the problems we're going through right now, right? Like we have lost ethical values in our day-to-day life, right? Men are not ethical anymore. Women are not ethical anymore. And I think the problem comes from that core, right? Like core value system, right? And our value system is all fucked up because values believes more. So now as a man in 2021, I think it's my fucking job or duty or kind of like that my purpose almost is to just make sure I'm building good values for myself. So I'm not, I'm not sleeping around. I'm not, just wasting time on, women or like certain things that I'm putting place in my values. So then
not sleeping around.
Yeah, Jaden.
You hear that? Loud and clear.
No. But
Papa Yousaf is here to stay.
But I'm just saying it from my perspective, right, guys? Like it's just a matter. It's and again, like
those are your values, right?
Those are my values. Those are my values, and I'm building them, right? Like I'm not again, I'm not perfect. I'm not this sitting up on my highest stool and talking down to people. I'm just saying, like, listen, guys, like this is like if anytime you've been thinking about this, like right now is the fucking time to start putting those value systems in place. Like, start respecting people, start respecting women as a man, especially, right? Like don't gauge at women as like sexual objects, right? Like start putting those pillars in place right now. And it's going to take time because as men, we're fucking wired to be attractive to the opposite gender. Like we're wired, but then it comes to us to like start, if you're seeing that somebody's doing injustice, like speak up. Don't be fucking worried about getting your ass kicked, man. Like go and like, I've been seeing all these like people like get this Asian woman got kicked in the face with like outside this like store, like security camera caught it. It's like those men that were standing there, they're the problem. Right? They're the problem. Our society is crumbling because those security guys didn't go out and help this woman. And that's why our society is crumbling. Those two guys are the part of the problem. And same thing with me, same thing with us. Like we're all part of the problem, right? Like we're all not doing anything because it's somebody else's problem or somebody else will do it. Somebody else will handle it. Right. But it's like, when are we going to stand up and say, no, I'm putting the value system in place. I am operating with ethics. So whether it's work, right? Like whether it's work, whether it's personal life, whether it's business, like, so now at this point, like I'm starting to really realize these things, guys, and I'm really starting to like put in play of like, how do I build my value system? So Jaden, to answer your question, if I have a good value system and good ethics, I am 100% sure my kids will too, because kids don't listen to what you say. They do they follow what you do. And I think they copy what you do. And a lot of parents, parents, especially who grew up without the internet age, they just didn't have access to these knowledges. So what they've done, they've created a lot of weak children and shitty children, and it's not their fault either. Right. And the one thing I've come to learn is nobody's really at fault because we're all going through this for the first time. Everything that happens in our life, everything, we go through it for the first time. No matter how many books we read, no matter what we do, we're still going to experience it for the first time, because the crazy thing is you'll always experience it through your own perspective, right? You are the accumulation of your experiences. So you're always going to experience something through your own perspective. And that causes you to go through it for the first time. And when you're going through something for the first time or doing something for the first time, you're never really going to know how to do it right. Or to do it at all. So it's not the parents' fault either, or the past generation or the next generation. It's just each individual's responsibility now in 2021 to just start taking care of themselves the best they can, and start putting the values and ethics in place, and make sure that, like we can sit here and talk about like, man, all these girls are on OnlyFans and blah, 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 blah. But what are we doing as men?
Yeah, I'd like to add.
Are we still swiping on Tinder? Like, are we still treating everything as, are we not treating our body as something to be respected of just because we're men? Like, are we that fucking, horny? Like, what are we doing to put those value systems in place? So when we have kids and, sons and daughters, they look at us for what we do. And then they can say, okay, you know what? That's who I want to be like. I don't want to be like Lil Nas. I want to be like my dad.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Jaden. Go ahead.
Oh, like I see people on like TikTok and stuff. They fight the like cancel culture and everything by like just making obscure jokes and TikToks and stuff. And so much of the stuff on TikTok is like sexist. It's racist. It's like transphobic. It's like it's everything like that. And people make all this stuff and like fight back against stuff, but like we need to find a solution and kind of just work towards that. Like everyone needs to find consensus.
Yeah. And I think the solution, in my opinion, kind of like what Harsh asked, like, where do I see things going? I think the solution comes from really getting in tune with your higher self, man. Because the higher self doesn't act, everybody's higher self, there's a version of it there. And that higher self is not concerned with racial jokes or hurting anybody or being transphobic or whatever it is. Like, that higher self is not concerned with that, right? Now, obviously, to a lot of the stuff that's happening, kind of like my example with pedophilia, right? Like, how do we step in and stop like letting that go any further? Well, part of me tells me, something inside tells me that it is going to go further. Like, that will become the new normal at one point, because that's where the culture is going. That's where things are going. And we can sit here now in 2021 and say that's never going to happen. But the 2030 society will be, all virtual, most likely. So we don't know what's going to be happening in these virtual spaces and the virtual world. So now I can't really speak up on everything and everybody. But what I can say is, for myself in 2021 and moving forward, my goal is to just work on my ethics, right? Work on my goals and work on my values, and not be afraid to speak up. So if somebody looks at this podcast and says like, man, this guy's, is against all this stuff and blah, blah, blah. Well, yes, I am actually. Thank you for noticing that. But I'm not afraid to speak up about it anymore, because I know somebody needs to. And I also want to say, I always say this, like, that doesn't mean that I'm perfect. That doesn't mean that I am, without sin or without any harmful thoughts, or I'm a human too, man. Like, fuck, like, we all have crazy thoughts. We all have these things. We all have insecurities. We all have all that. But moving forward, what I know I can control is wake up every day and work on my body, work on my ethics, work on my goals, work on my things. Because when I become a good human, when I become a good member of the society, that's the only way there's a chance that society will change. Right. And I want to take people, like, I want to say this out loud right now. Like, I want to take people away from OnlyFans. I want OnlyFans to fucking go away. Right. I want Lil Nas videos to get taken down. Like, those are like, again, this partly joking, but like, that's what I mean. Like, I think those things are not adding any value to society. They're actually taking us away into further chaos. And people are just not realizing that. Kind of like goes back to the balance thing. Like, people are not realizing that they're trying to play God, and that's fucking up the whole balance of universe. That's why we got this whole environmental problems, climate change, like everything that's happening around you, right? It's cause of something. And people are just not waking up to the fact, and they're trying to ignore that it's the cause, that they have let go of their faith. They are not, in communication with the higher power. They're not, working on their ethics. They're not building their values. They're just letting life take them in any direction. And then they want to turn around and say, cancel this thing. This is not right. This is not right. Yeah. I think,
just to put a nail on the coffin to the topic, because I do want to move forward and talk about other things, but I think it's important to, I really respect you for having your own opinion and owning up to it and speaking on it regardless of how people react to it. And I think that's something everyone should understand and aspire to be. If you do want, let's say if someone is out there and you are for OnlyFans and you want to support it, go and support it. It's better than holding it inside and not speaking up and whatever it is that your values are. Whatever, at least express your values instead of following the herd. Be true to yourself. And I think, in the end, I think the most important thing is, one of my favorite mentors, David Meltzer, we had him on the podcast as well. And one of the things he taught us, and it stuck with me, is, we all want to change the world, right? Mm-hmm. But the reality is the only thing we have control over is ourselves. Yeah. And at the end of the day, me being like this, who I am, I can't go change the world. A poor person can't make other people rich. For you to be able to change the world, you have to become someone yourself to have that power in society in some way or form, because only a rich person can help other people be richer, right? And that's literally the only reason why I wanted to start the podcast. Like you said, I don't want to be 10 years down from the line and seeing society go downhill and being like, oh man, I wish I did something about this, right? I wish I tried to make a positive influence. I wish I worked on my morals, my values, and created self-awareness, right? All these things is, because I don't want to be having those regrets. And I think in some way or form, regardless of who you be, it's important for all of us to attempt to be our better selves. So we can make ourselves richer, not monetary wise, but with values and with goals, and being able to share that with the future generations as a trickle down butterfly effect.
Yeah, I agree, man. Good way to summarize it for sure.
Yeah. That's a topic we can talk about forever, right?
Yeah, I know, man. I know it's a deep topic for sure. But essentially it all comes down to self-awareness and working on yourself. And now to just kind of loop it around, man, I know I was talking about Kadns and we went off topic with that, but essentially one of my goals and the pillars I want to build with Kadns is the whole squadware, man. Like I want to bring people back together. I want to try to utilize the brand to not have division. Like you can have your own opinions, but don't let those opinions come in between friendships or come in between being good to other people. I think I have lots of opinions about everything we discussed, right? But I never let any of that. Like if I'm talking to somebody who is the biggest Lil Nas fan, I'll still show them love, because that doesn't take away from the fact that just because you are, supporting something else and I'm supporting something else, that we come and we try to bring evil and create disagreement and fights. No. This is not about that. It's like the only way we're actually going to move forward and become better is we start listening to other people's opinion and see. Now that doesn't mean that if somebody's trying to convince me to, start worshiping Lil Nas, that I'm ever going to do it. But that also doesn't mean that I'm going to disrespect them or try to beat them up or again, I'm always against any crime against humanity, right? You never want to hurt somebody. You never want to, you can have your opinions and those are yours to have, and you should speak up about them. And if they're right, they'll win at the end, right? So my opinion,
and focus on more important stuff too.
Exactly.
Don't only focus on Lil Nas the whole day. Everyone's or WAP, just the whole time. Focus on other stuff. Maybe contribute. Tell how you want the direction of the country to go. Global, not just Lil Nas.
Don't just live. That's what I'm just using him as an example. He's but I'm just saying, if somebody has an opposing opinion to me, that doesn't mean that I hate the person or I'm against them. If they're, if it's religious versus whatever, I'm going to have my own opinion, but that doesn't mean I'm going to hate on you and try to beat you or try to do and when people push it that way, with this, the guy I mentioned who hit the Asian woman, when people do stuff like that, that's just the lowest of the people. You know what I mean? You're just a disgusting human being at the end of the day. Right. But
there's somebody out there who's saying, well, that's his freedom. Are we going to cancel somebody for wanting to kicking somebody brings in happiness?
People will say that. There are people who would be on that person's side and say, well, he kicked her because of XYZ and he's right. And that's the crazy part, because there are people who would support that, right? Exactly. But then it's like, and then it goes back to the security guards. It doesn't even, the woman and the guy is no longer even in the question, right? The woman was just in the wrong place at the wrong time, and the guy's a fucking asshole. But the people around, though, right? Like, as a society, right? That's like, could be us, right? Like, we could be those guys. And like, what if we didn't do anything? How would you go to bed at night knowing that you literally saw a woman get kicked in the face and you didn't step up? Even if the guy was bigger than you, bro, like, let's just try something, like pick up a brick, something, like fucking kick him in the nuts, do something. Right? Don't just leave it at that. And then that's the problem with the society. But back to, again, with the whole point with Kadns, like, I want to essentially utilize the platform to try to bring people together. Like, I want to run some campaigns, man, with like people smiling, because with the mask, you can't see people smile anymore. And you know how fucked up that is for your human, kind of like your psychology, or like your human happiness, that you can't see other people smile. Like, that actually, like, from scientifically perspective, like, if you see people, if you smile yourself, like, even if you're sad and you smile, that automatically makes you feel better. It's proven by science, right? Wow. Now, when you see other people smile, that also brings smile to your face. If I see somebody smiling, there's a very hard chance that you won't feel like being happy too. Now, with these mask things, people can't smile anymore. Right? Like, you can't see other people smile. So it's like, what is that doing psychologically? Are people just more depressed? Well, if you look at the results, yeah, it is. People are more depressed now. So with Kadns, like, we actually don't have masks. Like, we never, how like every company, brand, came up with masks. I'm so glad that me and my crew decided not to do masks. And I never want to do them, even if they become a fucking fashion statement. I don't think I want to do them. Hopefully I might have to bite these words if I have to make money someday, but, but I'm just saying, like, I essentially, like, from the bottom of my heart, I never want to make masks from Kadns. The reason I don't want to do that is because I want people to be able to see each other smile.
Think about being born in this pandemic and how much of an impact it would have on your, like, brain development, your social development.
Yeah,
like,
bro. I saw kids the other day. I saw kids wearing a mask in like Superstore or some shit, and like kids, like little kids walking around with their parents wearing a mask. And I'm like, that is normal to them. That's their normal world. Yeah. Like, so when they grow up and they see somebody not wearing a mask, they're going to be like, what the fuck are you doing? Why aren't you wearing a mask?
Even brain development. Like, I remember, like, in the first 5 years, so basically like 50, I think, like, a certain amount of our brain, like, that we have now, it's developed in the first 5 years of our life. Yeah. And like, let's say if I have a child, or anyone has a child who's like 2 or 3, like, 2 years of their life has gone into the pandemic in the most important brain development years that they're going to. And imagine the long-lasting effects of that.
And it's not just because they're too young to, like, know that it's a pandemic, right? To them, again, like I said, it's just a normal world. Yeah. But what's scary is, like, their parents are going through all this, and their brain is, like, going, like crazy, because they don't know what to do. And now that's causing the kid to, like, see their parents basically lose it. You know what I mean? Like, they're losing, whether it's their business or their homes or their jobs or whatever it is. And now the kid is experiencing all that. And do you think that kid's going to grow up and be, hopefully, well, we never know, but, like, do you think the chance of that kid growing up and being a good member in a society, or do you think he's going to grow up with fucked up problems?
Yeah.
Right.
I want to ask you guys, so we're all, like, extroverts here, right? I believe, like, so, like, what do you guys do? Because for me, so I'm in online school, and at this point in time, it's unbearable, because, like, I get my energy from other people. I never get enough energy to complete my work. So I just sit around, and then sometimes I go outside and I just go to stores and try to find people to talk to, because I can never find anyone to talk to.
Jaden,
all my friends are doing schoolwork. Like, Jaden, it's so crappy.
You're in Edmonton, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we can connect for sure, man. But for me right now, it's obviously work. Work is kind of saving me, right? Like, I get to go out because of work. But even outside of that, like, I've been playing a lot of COD. That's where my headset's from. Like, I fell in love with COD over these past few months. So I've just been playing that. So, like, that gives me a chance to communicate with people. And then just obviously my friend group, that kind of part of my Kadns group and stuff. So I'll see them. but it's tough, man. It's not it's
No.
nowhere close to what it used to be, man. And I was gonna say, like, even for kids who are going to school, like right now, I don't know how y'all doing it, bro, because I was in school and I couldn't, like, it was hard for me to pay attention. So if I'm at home studying and I have to pay attention to an online course, bro, fuck, like, if I was you, Jaden, bro.
Most people I know barely even do 1 hour of school a day. No one does anything.
Forget school, bro. Just don't waste your money.
Man, literally, like, it's so
go
crazy.
Invest in NFTs.
I was in, like, because I just finished my last semester last month as well, like in December. And like online school, man, it was a challenge, bro. Like, just because you have your camera off and you don't have that accountability.
Bro, it's garbage.
And even like if you look at how the human brain works in terms of an attention span, more than 20 minutes after, we lose our attention span. Like, we just don't have any capability to withhold our attention more than 20 minutes, right? It's a downhill graph that goes down.
Yeah.
So
and even with the professors and stuff, right? Like, let's just get real, man. Like, I know, like, sometimes people like to put like teachers and all these people on pedestals, but it's like, bro, like, most of them don't really know what they're doing. Like, it's as fact as it is, right? Like, I went to school, I went to MacEwan for 4 years and learned accounting. I probably only like two of my professors out of, I don't know, 50, however many I had, but like, I only like two of them that I felt like were, genuine enough and cared about their students and actually knew the subject. And then the rest were just part-time fuckers that were trying to make an extra money. Like it is what it, like, that's what it was, man. Like, people would like literally, bro, they would like literally come in and most of them didn't have like any understanding of the subject they're teaching, or just weren't really interested in their students, or didn't really fucking care. And they were just there to collect a paycheck. And, their full-time job was wherever they were doing. So there will be like an accounting prof who's an accountant by day and then a professor by night. And he's already tired by the time he gets to school. So he doesn't really give a fuck what he's teaching. So the whole school system, man, we need another Gamechangers podcast series for that. Like,
we need a whole series for that.
You guys got student series going on. Y'all need to start like a professor series where y'all diss all these professors, bro, because all these professors, man, like, most of them.
And what's absurd is, like, they're charging, like, okay, if we have online,
they're charging the same. That's what I heard.
Charging the same tuition, and there's so many fees that go as part of like the social aspect of the university experience,
bro. That's what I'm saying. Like, I fucked up because I went to school, and I wish I didn't, actually. I know a lot of people say that now. It's like the cool thing to say, like, fuck school. But like, I truly think, man, like, it's such a bad system, and you just don't realize it from the outside. Like, unless you go through within it and you're quote unquote woke, and you're not like just like one of those kids that just love studying and they don't listen to anything else, no matter how much you try to tell them. We need those people, by the way, in this world for this to continue. But I went through it and I saw the system, and I'm just like, I am not interested in this, right? I just, again, being an immigrant kid, like, I just didn't have any other choice or another way of like figuring this out. Because again, I was, when I was going through university, like, what the access we have now, even back then, we didn't really have, like, remember Khan Academy? Does anybody guys know? Like, Khan Academy was just like starting to like become a thing towards like the last 2 years of my university education, I feel like. So now there's so much online courses. There's so many people that you can like put your money towards and mentor from and actually get the knowledge from. Or forget all that, man. I say you like starting a business is probably the biggest like personal development course that you can take, man.
Right.
I
think I have a little bit of a different perspective on school. I think you're right about it not being like, I agree. I wish I hadn't gone to school either, but I think it also depends on what
the individual.
The individual
and then career path. Yeah, of course.
Career path you're looking for. Like, let's say if you're a business person, like if you're out there and if you're doing a 4-year degree in something like strategic management and organization or like marketing or something, you wasted 50 grand, my guy. That's easy.
I agree. Yeah. I agree.
Like the only.
And sorry, you are absolutely right. I do agree with you on that.
If you're like a doctor or engineer, yes, you need to go to school.
100%. I was gonna say, like again, I guess when I speak, my perspective is just coming from the business side, right? Because that's where my mind's at. But you're right, 100%. If you're going to learn a discipline in school that requires like 6-7 years of education, like doctor or engineer, like you said, computer science, some computer scientist or anything like that, where you know that whatever you're going to learn, you're going to apply it, makes sense. But when you're going to school and you're learning business from a professor that has never started a business, it's a joke.
That's the best way to put it. I think the only, if you're going to business, the only one I can see is, let's say if you want to be even accounting, you don't have to do 4 years. You can learn accounting in a year or 2 years.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying, bro. Like I went through school for accounting, and again, I'm probably a bad example because I wasn't like a straight A kid, although my GPA was good, but I wasn't ever like book smart. I just learned things to learn it and then move on. And that's the thing with school. That's what it teaches you. It teaches you lazy habits. It teaches you. And that's what I hate about school, is like the fact that it creates bad habits for you, right? Because you're learning things only to pass that exam. And then as soon as you're done, you move on. You never revisit it. You never apply it. You never,
you're not learning to better yourselves or grow your knowledge.
Exactly. You're just learning to pass the exam, bro. And that was my problem with it, right? But again, I'm the bad example for it, because I went through school for accounting and I came out, and if you were to ask me right now to help you with accounting, I'll run the other way, bro. Like it's not in me, right? Like, and
come on, help me out.
I recognized it, right? So like self-awareness is huge in that journey too, right? Like just knowing who you are. Like I feel more comfortable with creating content and more business and like promotion and branding and stuff like that than I do with accounting. So I just had to,
where the world is headed too, because half of these professions are going to be irrelevant at some point, because
bro, like once AI is here, like you think you're going to need an accountant to help you with your taxes? No, like it's already out there. Like you have QuickBooks.
It's already out there.
You don't really need an accountant if you have QuickBooks, right? Like, so the tools are already out there. It's just going to take time for everybody to develop. Like with this NFT thing I was talking, like NFTs, like if you actually look at the whole blockchain structure and like what the underlying technology is, that's going to get rid of so many things, right? Because people are going to be just utilizing the structure or the blockchain to like verify everything, or even like I feel like accounting is going to move on there somehow, like because it has the ledgers, and accounting is all about ledgers, right? Like it's all about which side you're on and what's right and what's wrong. So like think about 5 years from now, blockchain might be the one that's powering a lot of the accounting softwares, and you don't need somebody to kind of tell you anything. You can just unplug or plug in the numbers, and the AI will just kind of handle everything. Right. So a lot of the the things are going to move. Like I don't even know if like big careers like engineers or like that stuff. I don't know what's going to happen with all that. Like, right, with technology, man, a lot of shifts are going to happen, right?
Aiden, what are you studying, by the way?
Me? I am like looking at everything, because I'm debating if I should do like some kind of accounting or financing and like actually go into that career.
Jaden,
and not like do
Jaden,
marketing.
we're gonna convince you by the end of this podcast to quit school.
I don't know, man.
No. Listen, dude. School, like the problem I find right now is the online, right? Because what I found valuable in going to school, although I hated it, what I found valuable was the connections you build and the experience you get by speaking in front of class, by speaking in front of people you don't know, by talking to people you don't know, walking around and just meeting new people. All that was great. And I feel like I wouldn't be as much into like social media and branding and like have that much knowledge and feel so comfortable in front of camera if I didn't go to school and learn some of these skills as I was approaching new random people. Right, mostly females. But as I was approaching these people, right, you get to learn these skills and stuff, how to talk, how to communicate, how to be better. But because you're doing that online now, I feel like that even takes that away. So now the value of school has, for me at least, has decreased even more, because it's like, now it's like you're not even getting like, for people who were entrepreneurial or people who were smart, like street smart, quote unquote, they go to school. Now you're not even getting that value because you can't even talk to people. You can't even connect with people.
I've met so my first year was in person. I met like actually some like crazy people. I met some like CEOs. I met some like people in companies. I've met lots of entrepreneurs. Like I was extremely surprised with what university brought me, and it brought me close to lots of friends and people that are in my area. But online, I haven't met a single person that I could take away from, and I haven't made any new connections.
You know what the online class experience is like? You have your class going on, you sign in, you turn off your camera, you turn off your mic,
and you turn on Tinder.
Exactly. You turn on Tinder, you go on your phone.
Or you're on OnlyFans.
Or you're on OnlyFans. Like Yousaf is on OnlyFans, Jaden's on.
If I'm in school right now, bro, and it's online class, I'll probably be on my OnlyFans. That's the only cam that's turned on.
And that's literally what it is. Like, you have the class going. You're not really learning anything. You're not paying attention. You're doing your thing.
And you're paying your money. You're paying your tuition.
Money. Yeah, you're paying money. And then by the time like an exam comes or something, you got your Coursera, you got your Quizlets, you got your check and everything open. And then when the exam, you got all your possible ways to cheat. And there might be somebody who's actually trying to work hard and trying to get a good grade, but fuck it, since everyone's cheating.
And they curve to help you. There, lots of them are like, "Oh, we know it's hard," and it's like they give you these free classes, but in the end, like, I'm not gonna be able to use them.
Any of knowledge you're not gonna use. And second of all, one thing I was gonna say to what Harsh said, like, you are basically paying all that money. They're not reducing the cost, so you're still paying the same amount of money. And the thing that they do, and something I realized recently is, like, you know how they give you the free money, right? Like student loans. As a student, I took all that thinking that it was there to help me and get me through school. But what it was actually there for was help me create bad habits, because I have all this money now that I didn't work for. I have no proper attachment to. I didn't earn it. I just got given it to me. Now I go and waste that money on school or on education that I'm not really interested in or whatever, right? So now you're giving free money, you're taking free money, you're spending that money on education, thinking that you're going to pay attention. But because you didn't really earn that money and it didn't really cost you anything to get that education, you're not paying attention. So you're basically, it's just all, bro, it's all these.
Something funny, Yousaf? I was reading this the other day, and it was like, when you're a student, you're 17, and they literally hand you like $50,000.
Yeah.
And then when you're like 26 and you want to buy a home, oh wait, you got to give 30% down payment. Oh, you need to have an 800 plus credit score. Oh, you need A1 ratings on every single credit product that you have. Oh, you need is a spousal. This like to buy a home. It's like, comparison. Like, think about how easy they give you money when it comes to school or something like that. Even with corporations right now,
and it just goes to waste, bro.
$40,000.
Yeah.
$40,000 they're handing out to any small business right now. If you just ask for it, they're giving you the government is giving you $40,000 with no interest.
Right now?
Yeah.
All right, bro. Okay, bet. I'm getting 40,000.
If you have a business,
guys, just to let you guys know, I gotta head out in a couple minutes here.
Yeah, let's wrap it up then.
Sure. But these are all topics we can definitely develop on.
I hope you guys got some good stuff out of today's conversation.
Yeah, man. It was I guess to wrap up, I guess, if you have one piece of advice that you could share with the students, it is a student series, the students out there, or just people out there right now, what would it be?
I guess just kind of based on, if it's for students, I would just say, if you are in school, if you got caught up like Jaden here, definitely try to keep your ventures open, especially if you're in business, man. School's not going to teach you everything. There's just no way. Because I feel like even in marketing, like, you guys are learning some stuff from the past about newspapers. Like, I don't even know if they're teaching you how to run Facebook ads. And if they're not, then you're probably in the wrong place, right, in 2021. So just keep that in mind. Try to venture out of school and do other things. If you still want to continue education, great. But if you are in that place where you are woke and you feel like this isn't for me, especially in business, particularly, get out, man. Go do something else and go work. Go get mentorship from somebody you want. You're young, you have the time, you have the energy. Literally go reach out to 100 people. I know Gary Vee talks a lot about that. Like, reach out to 100 people and try to get a mentorship from somebody that you want to be like or want to build a business like, and then you'll learn more working in that business than you ever will going to business school. So that'll be my advice for students, I guess. Like, definitely venture out. Don't just think that your accounting degree is going to take you to, places, because it's not.
Right.
Well, my accounting degree kind of took me to places, but I'm a different case. You know, I'm just
in your garage here in San Fran.
Here in San
San Francisco,
just
Silicon Valley.
Just bought this bridge. But you know what I want? You know what I like more than the bridge? Education.
All right, man. Well said. Thank you again, man, for coming on. It's really fun. Just talking to someone, I think we can all connect with each other in a way or form, and we also have a similar mindset. So it was great to have you on. It was really a pleasure learning about your ideologies and your mindset and so many things we all agree on. So thanks again. Thanks for the opportunity. If anyone is interested, go out, check out my buddy's his brand, Kadns, his clothing brand. Rep it. And I have had people tell me, one of my friends was wearing it. And I was like, oh, that's Kadns. I know that's from Gainztalk. He's wearing a beanie, and I said, man. He's like, dude, the quality is so nice. Like, he's like, it's so comfortable. He's like, I've had hats before, but this is so nice. So you know what? Give it a shot. Support local. This is why I wanted you to come on, because, I see you hustling. I see you making a difference in society and, being the best version of yourself. And, I wanted to get to know you better, learn from you, and also give you a platform as well. So
thank you. Thank you, Harsh. Thank you, Jaden. And thank you to Gamechangers podcast for definitely giving me this opportunity. Definitely check out officialkadns.com. Check me out, Gainztalk on IG. That's my main platform. That's where I'm usually at. So definitely tap in with me. I'm usually spreading positive vibes and laughter, and here and there giving my opinions on being woke. So and a bunch of LA Fitness reels. Oh yeah, LA Fitness TikTok, reels, bro. Yeah. I'm trying to bring Cali vibes to Edmonton. So hopefully I succeed in that one day.
Definitely. All right, man.
Thank you, guys. Take care, Jaden.